Hi guys, welcome to my channel. In this video, we're going to look at the game 12 of the FIDE World Chess Championship match between Dean Leren and Gukesh. In the round 11 or game 11, Gukesh played the white pieces and he won, which made the score of the match 6 for Gukesh and 5 for Dean Leren. In game 12, Dean Leren is playing the white pieces. Can he secure a win? Can he equalize? Or are we going to see another win from Gukesh? Let's dive right into it. This game starts with pawn to c4 by Dean Leren going for the English opening. e6, g3, d5, bishop to g2, knight to f6. We have knight to f3, d4 followed, taking more space by Gukesh in the white camp with the intention to bring in the knight and defend this pawn with this pawn. Then things can happen. However, Dean Leren choose to ignore that pawn for now and castle. Knight to c6, e3. It is now that Dean Leren choose to counter the pawn. Bishop goes to e7, d3. Pawn takes on a3. Bishop takes on a3, e5. Knight to c3. Here, Gukesh castles the king to safety. Observe this. These grandmasters plays chess. You can just learn from their idea and concept. Before move 10, they've castled their king before they strike to attack. So it is a concept you can add to your own opening preparation. Do not attack until your pieces are in the right places and your king is safe. So it's a takeaway from this video. Let's continue. Rook to e1, h6, a3, a5. Now h3 follows, Bishop to e6. We have king to h2. Rook to b8. Now queen to c2. After rook to e8, e8 in this position, we have knight to b5. Bishop to f5. Why bishop to f5? Bishop to f5 pins the pawn to the queen and supports this queen also in attacking that pawn. So the pawn is attacked twice, just one defender, which is the queen, which is a sign that white needs to act fast and defend that pawn. What did Dean Leren playing white? What did he do? In this position, he played rook on a to d1. You can learn from this. Adding one more defender to this pawn. Great. So knight to d7 comes up. You have queen stepping away from the pin so that the pawn can be pushed and move forward. Bishop to g6. Here we have pawn push to d4. After d4, there is pawn takes, knight takes. There is pawn takes, knight takes, knight take, bishop takes. However, Gukesh doesn't want to go through that variation. He decided to decline this pawn offer by playing e4 instead, a move that attacks the knight. Knight to g1 for safety, knight to b6. Queen moves to c3, bishop to f6. Another concept, a pin by this bishop to the queen. So in case of any movement of this pawn, the bishop will just capture the queen. Well, queen to c2 was played, unpinning the queen. Very important. After a4, knight to e2. Bishop to g5 follows. Knight goes to f4. Bishop takes on f4. Bishop takes on f4. Rook to c8. When the bishop came to f4, the bishop attacks the pawn, supporting the knight to mount pressure on the pawn on c7. That is why we see rook to c8 in this game by Gukesh, supporting and defending that particular pawn. Queen to c3 comes up, knight to b8. Pawn push to d5. Why pawn push to d5? The knight just moved away from c6 back home. Now there's a tendency it want to come back into the game through this square again. But Dean Leren choose to take away this square by pushing this pawn to d5, grabbing more space. The pawn is well defended. There is a rook defending, there is a pawn defending, and there is one hidden bishop here, which could be a potential defender if this pawn is captured or taken away from the board. Well, what to do? In this position here, Gukesh played d7. After pawn push, pushing the pawn further, we see c5. Declining taking that pawn. He doesn't want to open room for this rook to enter this game. And let's look at this variation here. If pawn takes, there will be knight take. That is not a good news because knight now attack the rook, and the rook is going to exchange a powerful rook for a knight. Even this knight is very powerful. Here it is standing now because the knight is on the 6th rank, covering a lot of squares and exerting pressure. So Gukesh doesn't want this knight to even have the space to come into the game through any of those squares. That is why he played this move instead of taking. However, there is still a square the knight can use to harass this rook, and which is that c7. So Dean Leren chose to use that option by pushing to c7. Rook to f8, which made this pawn now weak because there was a defender here, the rook defending and supporting the pawn. Now the defender is gone. So can you see what I'm saying? Are you thinking what I'm thinking? Good. Bishop takes. Bishop takes. Yeah, I was expecting bishop takes, but it didn't happen like that. Gukesh went with knight c6. Don't mind me. Yeah, these are ideas. I was thinking bishop would just take and everything will be simple there. Well, watch this. This is where bishop goes back to g2. Rook comes to d8. Then now we have knight to d5. In this position here, I just felt that Dean Leren is trying to reduce number of pieces on the board. He has gotten one pawn with the hope of using that pawn advantage. He wants to reduce the number of pieces on the board, then push for a pawn promotion idea at the end game. Will that happen? Let's find out. Here, knight takes knight. There is a concept I want you to understand here. Knowing the right piece for the job or knowing the right man for the job. I think knowing the right piece for the job speaks it directly to you. Think of this. In this position, which piece will you use to capture the knight from white's camp? I have made some of these mistakes in the past and I will not make it again. I will keep learning. Me, I would have used the rook to capture because I want to keep more defender for this pawn. Are you getting it? It's an idea I would take in with the bishop. Normal. Yeah. But Dean Leren in this position, after thinking, creating many variations and analysis, choose to go with a pawn capture. I was thinking that the pawn would just be here. Rook comes in, threatening to take this pawn. But the variation for the rook is this. If rook takes, you get this pawn defends the pawn. That is why when I saw this variation, I said, okay, Dean Leren choice is just the best at the moment. So Dean Leren went for pawn takes knight. Why? See, this pawn is weak. This pawn on d5 attacks the knight on c6 with tempo, man. So what to do? The square is bad for the knight. This square is okay. No. The square is bad. The queen is covering that square. This square is the only okay squares are this square and a7. And that pushes the knight back, reducing the force and the number of strong pieces in the game for black from black's camp. So Gukesh played the knight to safety, which is important, keeping the knight safe, and will try to bring in the knight through this particular space in the future. However, that keeps this pawn vulnerable to attack, and Dean Leren just captured it, making 2 pawns ahead. So the concept of a particular move can give you either advantage or disadvantage in the next few moves. So pick your moves with a good decision wisely. This move has been made. How did Gukesh continue? He went on with rook attacking the queen. Queen steps aside to safety. He moves to d4. Here, knight goes over to a6, trying to come back into the game. Rook moves up to e7. Rook to e7 is a double-edged attack. The rook in this position attacks the queen and also attack the pawn. What to do? First of all, the attention is on the queen. You have to look for a counter. If there is no counter, you now have to play your queen safety or to a safe square. So queen goes to a safe square to hide. Here, pawn push. The pawn is now extremely dangerous. The pawn is threatening to go to the back rank, become a queen, attacking the rook. What to do? Rook comes down to safety first of all, to c4, at the same time attacks the queen. Ding Liren played this move. Beautiful. Queen to e3. Queen to e3 supports the rook here on this particular open file and still keep it simple such that he wants to threaten moving the rook to the back rank. However, first of all, he will need to defend this pawn first. Then pushing rook to the back rank, rook takes, pawn takes, a new queen enters the board. This is tension. This is pressure. How will Gukesh respond to this? In this position, Gukesh played rook to c2. Bishop comes into the game. Bishop to d6. Supporting, defending, with a threat to create many concepts. If rook goes up, maybe queen takes to remove this particular pawn, then rook takes rook is the threat in this position from white's camp. How do you counter this? f6 comes up by Gukesh, but this f6 was a mistake. Kindly pause the video and try to figure out what Ding Liren played in this position while I give you a couple of seconds. Well, you can pause the video. However, in this position, I did not see the tactical idea. I was so amazed that there was a rook sacrifice here by taking this pawn. On g7, he sacrificed the rook. And that was it. And that was how the game ended. This game 12 ended in the favor of Ding Liren, who won it, just equalizing the point. He now has 6 points. Gukesh has 6 points from the FIDE World Chess Championship match played in Singapore. Well, let's look at this. Why is this winning for white? There's a variation with king takes, king takes the rook. Bishop takes with check. Now, it's up to you to make a decision. If you did not take the bishop, a queen is coming. But if you take the bishop, you get it. A queen. Check. What to do? You start losing materials from here. Thank you for watching this video. Do not forget to like, share, and subscribe if you like what you've just finished watching. See you in the next video.